XRP and XLM to be used as a common settlement asset on the new breaking global CBDC platform announced by the IMF. And as of today, waiting on the announcement from the BIS for that common unified ledger news to break it first. So if you're new here, subscribe to the notification bell, because immediately when the BIS releases that special report on the unified ledger, we're going to break it first, and you can count on that. So subscribe at the notification bell. Leave a comment. Let me know if you saw this video we did from yesterday, the smoking gun, some deep diving that we did. We put the scuba gear on. We went deep into the trenches and we found some things that either people haven't found before or haven't shown in a while, but is very, very relevant to all this breaking news that's happening with the IMF, the BIS, and CBDCs, and having a common bridge digital settlement asset for that value transfer, value exchange mechanism for central bank digital currencies that are about to be launched around the globe this year, next year, and for the future year. So let's dive into it and follow up. Where did we leave off? We got to recap. So we left off, I think it was at this XRP cost model paper, because it was huge. So let's just start off with that. So bringing it back up, the cost cutting case for banks, right? The return on investment of using Ripple and XRP for global interbank settlements, February 2016. We're talking 7 years ago. So introduction. In building network effects on Ripple, we shared our company's vision for a future state in which money moves as easily, securely, and globally as information moves on the web today. We call this future state the Internet of Value. We believe Ripple plays a critical role in the development of the Internet of Value by initiating network effects. Today, Ripple offers modern infrastructure for cost-efficient cross-border payments, connecting liquidity suppliers and liquidity takers, allowing them to pursue new revenue opportunities. As a digital asset, XRP is a useful trading instrument to reduce spreads and expedite market thickness. In this paper, we will dive deeper into this concept. We will compare how cross-border payment processing works in legacy system versus on Ripple, and on Ripple using XRP as a bridge asset. We will detail an industry-first return on investment analysis of distributed financial technology and digital assets for global interbank transactions 7 years ago. 7 years. So if you haven't already, you got to pause this video right now, and I'll link this in the bio here. I'll link this video from yesterday because it was absolute heat. It was like 43 minutes long. Go, hit a quick workout, get a quick run, it's sunny out, watch this video, listen to it, and then come back to this one, because this was heat. Found a whole lot of stuff, and I'm actually just going to continue off of this instead of kind of regurgitating information from this video. So as we go down, where did we kind of end up at? We're basically, as a backdrop, we're outlining the legacy system, correspondent banking, no-show, vo-show accounts, and how Ripple has been working effortlessly for the past 10 years, basically building this new system, utilizing RippleNet, utilizing XRP for that on-demand liquidity to change up the game, change the system, create a new plumbing for this financial system. It's everything we cover in our free Opportunity of Crypto Accelerator course, and it has all the same verbiage. We start off mission 1 with our current system and why it sucks, and we give you the backdrop. But then mission 2, we dive into what the future system looks like. We go through the timeline of revolutions, the fourth industrial revolution, the history of the internet to the future of the internet, which is the Internet of Value. We cover all this. It's all in here. So definitely, if you haven't already, go to stargate-ventures.com, go to education and software, and then it will be the first course here. It's absolutely free. You got nothing to lose. And you might find golden nuggets if you feel like you already know. Still go into it, because I'm sure you're going to find a golden nugget in here that you didn't know. And I'll put that link in the bio of this video as well too. But it's everything we've been covering in our course videos on Stargate's website. We broke it down to a T because we're seeing the same verbiage year after year after year after year. And now we're getting to the point where we're hearing public announcements. We're seeing XRP, Ripple, Stellar in these IMF documents now, when before we would have never seen that. It was always kind of the runaround. Now we're seeing it publicly announced and initiatives coming to light. So as we go down, it's talking about digital assets as a solution. We have the US, we have Japan, we have, I'm not sure for that one. I think this is Brazil. But for the first time, digital assets can enable real-time value exchange anywhere in the world, providing liquidity on demand and significantly reducing costs associated with treasury and payment operations. Liquidity and Basel III compliance, very important. We'll save that for another deep dive. XRP, the native digital asset of the Ripple Consensus Network, offers these capabilities and can support liquidity between any two currencies. It enables the transfer of value anywhere in the world in an entirely frictionless manner with fewer barriers to entry than the corresponding banking system. Total unreal opportunity here. And we can go on to Uphold. We can buy this right now. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but man, it's an opportunity of 1,000 lifetimes. We have XRP, a XRP pool, consolidating liquidity to service international payments from many disjointed, fragmented kind of digital islands into one international no-shore account, which will be an XRP pool. And respondent banks allocate less total liquidity to service the same volume of global payments. And here's how. XRP, baby. So XRP, by contrast, has no counterparty costs. And then I think this is where we came at. It was economic implications of a universal bridge asset. Banks currently incur significant infrastructure costs processing cross-border payments. Employing Ripple and XRP can help banks eliminate or lower these costs. Foreign exchange. The cost of spread for the purchase and sale of a currency pair in the wholesale market at institutional rates. This spread can be between fiat currencies or between fiat currency and XRP held on the bank's balance sheet. When XRP is used, the model assumes the banks hold XRP on their balance sheets and provide their own liquidity for foreign exchange transactions. Third-party market makers can also be used. Currency hedging. The cost of hedging a basket of currencies held in no-shore accounts globally. Treasury operations. The funding costs required to maintain account minimums. The overhead of managing currencies and counterparties across accounts, and the cost of occasionally rebalancing cash between those accounts locally and internationally. Liquidity. Liquidity costs have two components. The cost of capital locked in flight as an international wire is processed, typically 2 days, and the time to fund the local no-shore account, typically 1 day. Liquidity costs can be calculated as the cost of funds applied to the time-weighted average amount of capital locked up. Payment operations. The manual intervention cost of exceptions and error handling requires headcount and the cost of using local rails. Then Basel III LCR. I think this is liquidity coverage ratio, I believe. Let's just make sure that's the case. Basel III LCR. I believe that's the case. I remember doing a video on it back in the day. The opportunity cost to the sending institution of holding lower yielding, high quality liquid assets as designated by pending Basel III regulations against credit exposure during the in-flight period. So as we go down, we have international payment servicing cost breakdown. It goes into it all. To access the cost impact of using XRP as a universal bridge asset, let's first evaluate the potential cost savings of using Ripple without XRP. Institutional cost savings using Ripple. You can realize 33% cost savings without XRP. But utilizing XRP, you could save 42%. And this was back in 2016. So it's probably way more today. Now let's evaluate cost savings to our representative bank using Ripple and XRP as a universal bridge asset. The cost model below assumes our same respondent bank converts 50% of its payment-related float into XRP after implementing Ripple, custodying the XRP itself. Banks can either source and custody XRP themselves or contract third-party liquidity providers. Currency hedging is the only cost with an initial short-term increase due to the potential higher volatility of XRP as a new asset. As XRP gains usage, this volatility is expected to trend downwards. International payment infrastructure costs. So using XRP, even assuming initially high volatility, a respondent bank can realize 42% cost savings compared to the current system. And using Ripple and XRP further compresses other aspects of the bank's cost structure for cross-border payments. Liquidity, since using XRP does not require multiple no-shore accounts, redundant liquidity costs are collapsed into a single XRP account. Compared to using Ripple without XRP, using Ripple and XRP eliminates up to 1 additional day of funding for no-shore accounts. saving up to 99% of related liquidity costs as long as the bank has access to a real-time gross settlement system and XRP exchange that can support the necessary size of payment obligations. The bank would hold enough XRP in its balance sheet to handle its largest payment and could top up as needed from real-time exchanges. Foreign exchange. As liquidity for XRP grows and spreads increasingly tighten, the net foreign exchange spreads in our model are assumed to remain unchanged from today. A bank is assumed to make its own markets against XRP held on its balance sheets. Treasury operations. Since using XRP eliminates the need for no-show accounts, banks simplify and reduce cash management and account maintenance costs up to 74%. Operational overhead for fiat currency management also decreases as the number of currencies custody decreases. Though XRP itself still requires some overhead, banks with more no-show accounts will have more to gain in treasury savings. Basel III. Ripple already minimizes in-flight periods, therefore Basel III costs do not change with XRP usage. And currency hedging. Currency hedging can be costlier initially due to the need to hedge a new potentially volatile asset. This model assumes hedging it's 5 times costlier than with liquid fiat currencies at present. Hedging costs will improve over time as XRP liquidity increases. Not all banks may wish to hedge. So there we go. But a bank's associated savings would accrue faster for a larger bank due to higher payment volumes, resulting in a comparable payback period to the model. If we keep going down, model assumptions. Margins have not been considered in this model since pricing will be decided by each participant in the value chain. Ripple plans to introduce programmatic distribution of XRP to market makers who use it to tighten spreads for cross-currency transactions. It is assumed that this XRP incentive program will compress the spreads of trades using XRP. Moreover, compliance, AML, KYC costs do not change with the new settlement mechanism, so they are unchanged in the model. One-time setup costs for XRP custody, including procurement and compliance, have not been considered in this model. When considering compliance requirements, digital assets are entirely traceable for regulatory oversight and law enforcement. This model includes a conservative assumption of hedging costs with initially high volatility of XRP. However, institutional holdings and active trading of the XRP can greatly reduce the volatility of it, significantly lowering the hedging costs. In a low volatility state, assuming the volatility of XRP is the same of a basket of liquid global currencies, costs can decrease an additional 3.8 basis points or 60% compared to the current system, translating to total system-wide cost savings of over $33 billion annually with lower volatility of XRP. As we keep going down, the incentive accelerator. Banks can capitalize on the reach and real-time speed XRP affords with hedging, regardless of the XRP price. In building network effects on Ripple, we alluded to programmatically distributing XRP to incentivize its use to offer better spreads on currency trades and payments. This forthcoming incentive program accelerates the use of XRP as a universal bridge asset by rewarding offer size, time outstanding, and spread. An incentive program simulates XRP adoption and market making by rebating liquidity providers for quoting against XRP in the immediate term, thereby supporting spread reduction over time against a new asset. The incentive serves to offset volatility risk for market makers and provides an algorithmic distribution schedule for XRP. As adoption and use of XRP increases, so does its liquidity and price stability. Most other digital assets are built on an anonymous transactor and validator model. As a result, those systems require very large amounts of funding for network security, which can only be paid with seigniorage. The overwhelming majority of mining revenues on the Bitcoin and Ethereum networks are used to pay for energy and equipment costs. Moreover, in such mining networks, an algorithm selects the validators, producing poor results for financial soundness and control, as in the case with Bitcoin's current validator distribution. By contrast, the Ripple consensus network powering XRP is a more viable institutional alternative. In the Ripple consensus network, the stakeholders select their validators, resulting in verified institutions as trusted validators with a more balanced geopolitical distribution. The cost of securing Ripple's consensus network is thus much lower and can be redirected to driving liquidity via the liquidity incentive program, since the seigniorage on the Ripple consensus network can be directed to liquidity providers to cover the cost of volatility risk. XRP is best positioned to drive institutional network effects and serve as a universal bridge asset in the internet of value. Conclusion. Ripple presents a compelling long-term value proposition for all financial institutions seeking global reach. And infrastructure technology, Ripple enables banks to transact instantly and directly with any other bank partner around the world, optionally sourcing liquidity from a competitive market of third-party liquidity providers with end-to-end visibility and confirmation of funds delivery. Taken together, Ripple and XRP minimize settlement risk and eliminate the need for banks to collateralize no-show accounts around the world, resulting in a lower total cost of settlement than ever before. And all of the when international commerce became a thing. I'm gonna pull up the Holy Grail document in this video because I just gotta set it in stone of how big this is. I'll never forget it. Specifically, Ripple can eliminate 6.8 basis points annually in liquidity and payment operation costs, implementing with Ripple and XRP, which further improves liquidity and treasury operational costs, whole lot of cost savings. To accelerate market thickness and reduce volatility, Ripple will soon introduce an XRP incentive program to algorithmically rebate market makers who provide liquidity through XRP. While this paper focuses on cross-border payments, Ripple and XRP offer the same benefits of cost savings and collateral elimination to all corners of the global financial system. Collateral usage has been on the rise in areas of particular relevance for financial stability. Trillions of dollars are trapped in collateral accounts to support repo and reverse repo transactions, offset counterparty risk in the derivatives market, and minimize credit risk in payment and settlement systems. To give just one example, in the 100 trillion plus market for non-cleared interest rate swaps, 5 trillion in collateral was required to offset over-the-counter counterparty risk in 2014, 8 years ago, while the margin for clear derivatives rose to 455 billion. Just as the redundancy of no-show accounts needed to service international payments for correspondent banks can be consolidated into one XRP pool, financial institutions can begin to consolidate collateral accounts needed to participate in different markets into single XRP positions that can provide one point of interchange to every other financial instrument. One single XRP pool that can provide one point of interoperability, value exchange into anything, any other financial instrument. Ripple technology can then eliminate settlement risks and reconciliation costs as transactions move between systems, releasing billions of dollars, I'd like to argue trillions, annually back into the economy while strengthening financial stability. In the end, the exciting potential of the new technology lies not just in the cost savings banks can extract from the old system, but the possibility to enable new models and businesses entirely. In the world of payments, a technology solution like Ripple and XRP that creates unprecedented cost efficiency and global reach makes use cases like global disbursements, international cash pooling, low value remittances, and even micropayments not just possible, but profitable. It's these new business models that will catalyze the development of the internet of value. And if you're here and you're watching this video, give yourself a pat on the back, go on a walk, go get an ice cream or something, because you deserve it. You really do deserve it, because so many people are just, they're not seeing this, but this is by far the greatest opportunity of our lifetimes. And no matter how young, how old you are, you watching this video right now, you're on it. So give yourself a pat on the back, go get an ice cream or something. You deserve it. You deserve it. So let's keep going, because today we have coming soon. I'm waiting for this to be announced. Like, that's why I'm up right now. The BIS Annual Economic Report 2023 will explore combining money, assets, and information on a common programmable platform, a unified ledger. Special chapter pre-release on June 20th at 13 CEST. It's June 20th. I'm waiting for it. So we'll let you know as soon as this is released. We're going to be first. We're going to be first to break the news. I got to see it. Got to be the first to have my eyes on it. So definitely subscribe to the notification bell, because immediately we'll break it in the first minute. And here's another thing, right? Well, first off, I'm on Twitter after doing the video yesterday, and all I see is people talking about Tobias Adrian. I mean, I'm going to show you a clip it. I like that as a new word, of one of our VIP private member group sessions back in April. I'm going to play the video. Let's hear it.
somebody's need to, and I'll do it too, but yo, we need eyes on this guy. This guy holds the key. We've been, I think, tracking him since October of last year. It first started with that cross currency common platform. I could pull it up, but then he came out with the bullet train with the IMF article, and then he was the one recently that I just saw something with the IMF and the proposal. I think he's in charge of Unicorn. Yeah, I think he was the one that proposed the idea. Yeah, to buy.
Yeah.
And then there was the most recent thing, which was the bullet train.
So this was from April 19th. We're about 2 months later. And all you see on Twitter, Tobias Adrian. We said we needed eyes on this guy back 2 months ago. We've been tracking it since September, October, where we released our first video. It's right here. This is 4 months ago. A multi-currency exchange and contracting platform, International Monetary Fund, Tobias Adrian. We've been tracking it. We've been saying it for a bit now, even in April in our private VIP group sessions. Those are always live. But as you can see, we know where we need to have our eyes on. And one of the big things that was mentioned is, and this is dating back June. No, I'm sorry, wrong thing. Here it is. So this was back. We covered this in the last video. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. October 19, 2020, cross-border payments, a new beginning. But you scroll all the way down. We didn't even get to this in the video yesterday. Panel 4, cross-border payments, a global roadmap for improvements. Moderator, Tobias Adrian. The G20 requested an international task force propose a roadmap of concrete actions to improve cross-border payments. The task force co-chairs will unveil this ambitious roadmap and kick off a public consultation with users, innovators, regulators, and policymakers to further refine the plan. There, Tobias Adrian, right? So that's where we gotta look at, him, but we also need to look at the G20 roadmap to improve cross-border payments. So I'm gonna X out of this now, and we're gonna work our way to it. So here it is. So now we have the targets. We covered basis for the last video. But I'm going to pull this up, but I'm also going to pull up the Holy Grail document. So this was August 2022. Working paper series, European Central Bank towards the Holy Grail of cross-border payments. We go down. The Holy Grail of cross-border payments is a solution allowing cross-border payments to be immediate, cheap, universal, and settled in a secure settlement medium. The search for such a solution is as old as international commerce. Huge words right there, and the implied need to pay. So whenever you are solving a huge problem or creating a new, never before seen solution to a problem, think of when the horse and buggies, then there was cars. That was a huge, innovation. And whoever created that made a ton of money because it was super valuable. It helped billions of people get to where they needed to go faster. And there was other, positive effects that spurred from that. And we're talking about a problem that dates all the way back to the implied need to pay. It's as old as international commerce in itself, thousands of years. And it actually says that. So this paper describes a current vision, how to eventually find this Holy Grail within the next decade. So we know 2030, it's cut off, but we need to get timelines in between, namely through modernized correspondent banking, emerging cross-border fintech solutions, Bitcoin, global stablecoins, interlinked instant payment systems with foreign exchange conversion layer, interlinked CBDC with foreign exchange conversion layer. For each, settlement mechanics are explained and an assessment is provided on its potential to be the Holy Grail of cross-border payments. Several solutions are suitable for improving cross-border payments significantly, but some could even be the Holy Grail. As we go down, it talks about a non-technical summary, right? And it's great. We're looking in all the right places. The Holy Grail of cross-border, it goes into it, but the search for the Holy Grail has been ongoing for many centuries, hundreds of years. In 2020, improving cross-border payments was set as a key priority by the G20. The G20 asked the Financial Stability Board, working with the Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructure and other standard-setting bodies, to coordinate a 3-stage process to develop a roadmap to enhance cross-border payments. That's why we're looking at these things. This is going to give us our key. The conclusion that it is time again for forceful measures to improve cross-border payments resulted from several considerations, namely that globalization and thus volumes of cross-border payments have continued and indeed are forecasted to increase, and the fact that although digitalization has made instant cross-border communication quasi-cost-free, there has not been a striking decline in the costs associated with executing cross-border payments. This paper argues that after more than thousands years of search, the Holy Grail of cross-border payments can be found within the next 10 years by the end of this decade. To this end, section 2 of the paper briefly recalls a few historical elements involving the search for efficient cross-border payments and identifies a number of universal challenges across time. Though a series of financial accounts, the paper then reviews several options for enhancing cross-border payments with a view towards reaching the Holy Grail. And spoiler alert, I've read the whole thing, all 59 pages, back in August of last year. And it's number 9. That's the Holy Grail. That's what they're saying is the Holy Grail. Interlinking of domestic payment systems and the future interoperability of CBDCs are the most promising avenues, albeit subject to strong progress being made on the anti-money laundering and then counter-financial financing terrorism compliance side to ensure straight-through processing for the large majority of cross-border payments. So that's why I keep saying, first, it's a step-by-step process. Well, we already had ISO 222 go live for some countries, but we need to look at the end date for when it goes live. And I think it's November 2024 where SWIFT, or it's 2025. It's November 2024 or 2025 where it's like no more MT messaging. It's strictly ISO 222. There needs to be a common universal standard for the messaging and all that to have rich data for the payment messaging. So that's number 1. So we already know where to look for that. Also, there needs to be common agreement internationally of this proposed framework, rules, and kind of standards for, and that's why we're looking at the G20. The G20 roadmap for cross-border payments. That's another thing we got to look at to get the timeline. But then we need to look at when all these countries update their domestic payment systems to real-time payment systems. The US, FedNow launching this July. Other countries in the world have already launched. But if we look, if the US is, gearing up, I'm sure all the other countries are already either done and have done it or going to be at the same time. So first, it's the updating of the payment systems, the real-time payments. Then it's having the standard, the messaging, ISO 222. Then it's having an agreement on regulatory kind of technical aspect across the board. And I'm sure we're going to see something come out at the G7 or G20 it is in November. India's leading it. There's going to be crypto talk at that. But then it's launching of at least wholesale central bank digital currencies, having interoperability in mind, interlinking all these domestic real-time payment systems with CBDCs, and having a common bridge settlement asset for the value exchange, value transfer mechanism to interlink all these. This is where step by step, it's not going to happen overnight. Obviously, it's been 10 years, 5-7 years, so, but we're getting closer and closer and closer. And the SEC case against Ripple, I believe, is just a part of what needed to happen. This has been planned for decades. So whatever's going on over there, I think it's all charade. It's just a matter of how can we best protect ourselves for the ultimate kind of writing on the wall. And Phoenix had put a nice comment as far as if only institutions can hold this, how can we prepare for that? And I'm going to dive into that in another video. So definitely subscribe, hit the notification bell for that. But now let's keep going forward. And let's talk about wholesale cross-border payments, everything like that, all the stuff that we've been tracking. Talking about between those involving a cross-currency foreign exchange reserve and those who do not, all the things, right? So now let's go. That was the Holy Grail of cross-border payments, ECB. I did a whole video on it. I'll include that link in the bio if you haven't seen it yet. But let's keep moving forward. G20. So priority theme on payment system interoperability and extension actions and timelines. June 2023, finalization of requirements for cross-border payment service level agreement schemes. Then we have Project Nexus Phase 3 ongoing to December 2024, we're going to have to take a look at this specifically. And then February 2023 to October 23, interim report to the G20 on FPS interlinking governance, risk management, oversight conditions. And the outcome of the G20 workshop in July of 2023, the experimental work on interlinking. Then we have July 2023. We got some stuff coming up. G20 workshop on interlinking of FPS, CPMI in cooperation with the Indian G20 presidency and the BIS Innovation Hub. So G20 in November, I believe. So this is what I'm saying. We're going to see some stuff there. International stuff, international institutions, conferences, events. Got to keep it on the mind. Standard setting bodies to organize a G20 FPS interlinking workshop to showcase existing interlinking arrangements, discuss technical and operational aspects, as well as the governance, risk management, and oversight of payment system interlinking arrangements. Ongoing to December 2024, fostering faster payment system interlinking across borders. Then February 2023 to July 2024, development of technical and operational approaches, how to address key challenges. And then February 2023 to March 2024, operators, self-assessment of payment system operating hours. Yep. And then CPMI to convene a forum to exchange information and experience among interested central banks on developing or upgrading their payment systems, factoring an international dimension into fast payment systems and central bank digital currency systems, and considering other innovative development and synchronization. Relevant international organizations could contribute to the forum their experience from direct relations with the wide membership and technical assistance to the forum. February 2025, right? So we do have timelines. So also, work on themes not included within these priorities will either be paused in 2023 to be picked up again later where relevant, or in some cases will continue to be taken forward by relevant bodies outside the roadmap. For instance, work on exploring the potential role of new payment infrastructures and on increased adoption of payment versus payment will continue in various fora, although these topics will not likely provide a material contribution to achieving the targets by 2027. The work on the priority themes will, in a number of cases, also be useful for this longer term or more general work. For instance, work on interoperability will also be helpful for longer term work on factoring an international dimension into CBDC design. So then it goes into the content of actions and dates of milestones beyond end 2023 are indicative. The actions and dates for 2023 are committed deliverables. So we got the timeline, we got the timeline for this. Then we have even more here. Priority theme on legal, regulatory, and supervisory frameworks, actions, and timelines. Max, it goes to October 2025. If we keep going down here, max February 2025. Then if we go down here, priority theme on cross-border data exchange and message standards, actions, and timelines, finishing the ISO 222 harmonization requirements and promoting their real-world implementation, October 2023. And then March 2023 to July 2024. This has December 2025. So by the end of 2025, set in stone. This stuff should all be kind of set in stone into fruition. So many things in here, so many things. This deserves its own video. But yeah, if you really look here, 2025, really a lot of these things are taken care of. You have national authorities evaluate what changes to make to their frameworks after that point. And then also you have, and that's basically it, promote full implementation of the travel rule for virtual assets. That goes all the way till the end of 2025. And then this all ends by 2025. Set in stone, right? Set in stone. And that goes with that document. I'm going to keep pulling it up. This one right here, enabling interoperability across platforms, Interledger 2020 to 2025. We got time. We got some time. So all these connections, all these timelines, all these things that we're looking at are coinciding together. We're in the right spots. We're watching the right people. We're watching the right institutions. We're watching the right things. It's just a matter of tracking it. Can price go before then? Absolutely. Absolutely could. It's just a matter of 2025. That's when we rest. Until then, we're breaking news all the way till that day. So we're going to keep this here, but let's see if there's anything else. So I can't wait for this to be released. We talked about the new global CBDC platform that was announced yesterday, IMF. official presents blueprint for cross-border CBDCs. Tobias Adrian, So we already covered this in the video from yesterday. We talked about Unicoin. We're going to do a separate, just like solely Unicoin video. We'll save that. But also there were some more things as far as with the IMF and connections and stuff. So I'll share that. We covered this. We covered that in the last video. What are cryptocurrencies? This is the IMF website, June 2018, about 5 years ago. Talking about commodity monies were developed from seashells. Yeah, we go down and talk about the history of money. We cover that in our free crypto accelerator course right here. But let's keep going. We have benefits and risks. Cryptocurrencies and their underlying technologies offer benefits, but also carry risks. Distributed ledger technology can reduce the cost of international transfers, including remittances, and foster financial inclusion. Some payment services now make overseas transfers in a matter of hours, not days. The technology can provide benefits beyond the financial system. For example, it can be used to securely store important records, such as medical histories and land deeds. On the other hand, the pseudo-anonymity of many cryptocurrencies makes them vulnerable to use in money laundering, terrorism financing. If no intermediary checks the integrity of transactions or the identity of the people making them, I think that's a travel rule. Cryptocurrencies could also eventually present challenges for central banks were they to affect control over the money supply and therefore conduct monetary policy. XRP, XLM, Holy Grail for central banks and for these institutions. So let's keep going. We covered this with the high-level advisory group, seeing Ripple on there, seeing Chain on there. We still got to dive into the DTCC. That reminds me, this PDF PowerPoint on the IMF's website that talks about Ripple and the Internet of Value and their solutions and bridging these CBDCs or on-demand liquidity, ISO 222 format. We're talking this document was from 2016 or 2018, talking about ISO 222, real-time settlement. And now we're at the moment, 5 years later, and now we're actually seeing ISO 222 in full effect. Underpinned by Interledger, right? Interbank Interledger. If we keep going here, the Nostro Votro liquidity, all this stuff that we've been looking at, the digital asset in the middle, that X pool, talking about freeing up trillions and trillions of dollars of trapped capital, peer-to-peer cross-border payments, atomic transaction across multiple interledger protocol ledgers guarantees certainty of settlement, global payments, multi-hop to leverage intermediaries for liquidity, so much stuff. All legs are atomic for certainty for settlement, 24/7 in real time for all use cases. Interoperability via ILP can connect existing networks as well, right? And then we're going back to that document saying that, where was it at? I think I had it up here. The one that, 2020 to 2025, ILP, interoperability, connecting all these systems. I mean, you have it here in this PDF back from 2018 that's sitting on the IMF's website in the archives, right? So now let's go to the next thing here. Are the fates of Ripple, IMF, and central banks intertwined? We have this clock here. CBDCs just got real. The idea of a CBDC a couple months ago felt like a distant dream, but now it's more than real as countries are now rushing to create a digitalized version of their national fiat currency. The Chinese expedition, Troubled Times for Ripple, talks about, that was that document. The long XRP commodity security debate is yet to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Despite this, what has caught attention of many was XRP being labeled as a supranational currency in an official document that discussed a digital fiat currency. What's even more baffling than that Bitcoin was labeled as a cryptocurrency was a tie-up with Ripple the plan all along, 100%. Supranational currency or super currency is a hypothetical global currency that would be backed by a basket of reserve currencies at the IMF. The idea is to form a basis for a new global monetary system and replace the current US dollar system. While the idea of this currency was part of the Keynes plan, the Bancor covered that in the accelerator. It has gained traction once again as C19 wreaked havoc and China DCEP neared its readiness for mass use. So speaking of that, talking about, okay, here we go. So the IMF, theories claiming IMF wants to tie the SCR to XRP for settlements might make sense for some, but it's far-fetched. However, even if we were to assume otherwise, this would mean a financial system in which the IMF, Ripple, and central banks all are intertwined. In that case, XRP could be used as a bank or a supranational currency. That's why we covered that in the accelerator program. That's exactly why we covered the bank or, and then let me play you a video that I made back, I believe it was, earlier this year. And this is from the Hoover 2022. So it's new. So this is Stanford University. So we're going to go to what we're going to do is to find XRP. And right here, it is possible to envision even more adventurous arrangement. For instance, a special drawing rights based stablecoin issued by a multilateral national currency, the Bancor. Guys, in Agartha, what do we talk about? We talk about the SDR. We talk about John Maynard Keynes. We talk about the supranational currency, and we talk about the Bancor, which would be an exchangeable with any national currency. Any national currency could thus be convertible into any other national currency in 2 steps via the stablecoin. Such an arrangement would operate with its XRP cryptocurrency and just one of the variety of possible alternatives. We're talking about an elite university, Stanford, outlining that in 2022 is around March or April, I believe. It's no surprise, no coincidence. So that was called. This is 2022. So it's, where was it? This is digital currencies, the US, China, and the world at a crossroads. And the world is definitely at a crossroads right now. Also, too, talking about value transfer and value exchange cryptos, I was on ChatGPT messing around. And if we go up here, I asked it to name all the coins in the value transfer sector. So Goldman Sachs has a classification of digital assets, like an official one. So I asked ChatGPT to create a portfolio with utilizing Goldman Sachs and Coinmetrics, the dataonomy framework and value transfer. Let me pull that up. Goldman Sachs developer, right? So straight on their website, dataonomy, Goldman Sachs, MSCI, and Coinmetrics collaborate to create a new framework for the classifications of digital assets, a standardized view of the digital assets market, and digital currencies class, sector, value transfer coins, subsector, value transfer coins is straight at the top. And what I believe is the biggest market potential is at the top, and you make your way to the bottom, it's the least market potential. But digital currencies, value transfer coins, November 2022. It's not like it's old. And then we go back to this value transfer coins, right? And it's saying that what coins are in there. We have value transfer sector, cryptocurrencies facilitating peer-to-peer value transfers, Ripple XRP, Stellar XLM, straight at the top, right? So everything is coming to light here. But as we keep going, Central Bank Summit on Blockchain in 2017. It was announced gathering over 24 of them from around the world to explore the technology with central banks. Ripple was there. And fintech's potential to change market structure, opening new possibilities in payments. You had, even in the Swiss National Bank Conference, apart from some high-profile representatives from the financial world and the IMF, it was Brad Garlinghouse who was seated at the front table representing the cryptocurrency industry. And if we keep going down, it's hard to determine what is exactly going on behind the scenes. We'll never know 100%, but we can make these connections. Whatever be the case, Ripple knows how to position its company. It's one of the most successful firms in the space for a reason. Attempts to distinguish itself from the rest is one of the many examples of Ripple vouching to be pro-regulation. So what can we expect? In light of such speculations, how must one view CBDCs? One must view it as an upgrade to current financial paper currency. And further, while talking to AMB Crypto, while refusing to get into conspiracy theory debates, asserted that despite CBDC's emergence in the future, there will still be a need for a bridge currency such as XRP for settling transactions quickly and efficiently between countries, for a value transfer, value exchange mechanism. For cross-border payments, it has become increasingly important for banks to offload the risk of notional accounts and the cost of hedging foreign currencies. XRP can play a vital role as a bridge between the different CBDCs, where one country's currency can be converted to XRP, then converted to another country's currency in a matter of seconds without the need of holding XRP and sourcing it on demand. Then we had this as well too. Ripple has serious connections with central banks and even the IMF. Here's how, June 2019. But I'm going to end it off. Let's talk about the original Keynes plan. I'm going to end it off with one video which says it all. I'm going to pull it up right now. Oh, actually, I'm going to play this video first, and then I'm going to play one more. Tobias Adrian in the same room as Brad G. Tobias Adrian in the same virtual room as David Schwartz, all speaking about domestic and international cross-border settlement. Let's hear both, and then I'll play you the last one.
Building a modern, interoperable, international payment and settlement system, RippleNet.
So there he is. There's David Schwartz.
On blockchain technologies. Our ultimate goal we call the Internet of Value, payments as easy as email for enterprises of all sizes and for consumers around the world. Obviously, we're not going to build that all by ourselves. It's an audacious about where the challenges are, but also where the opportunities are. The good news, CBDCs can make domestic settlement faster, more reliable, and less costly, and that's important. You can't have good international payments without good domestic settlement. International payments are more important than you might think because they're just so inefficient today. They often simply don't take place. Most emails wouldn't have been sent by postal mail if we didn't have email. The communication simply wouldn't have happened. An enormous amount of valuable commerce simply doesn't happen because international payments are so slow, unreliable, costly, and complex. The opportunity is enormous. There's typically a domestic transfer on each end of any international payment. If those don't work well, the international payment doesn't work well. And equally importantly, if you imagine an international settlement system with great characteristics like speed, certainty, low failure rates, those benefits won't be seen by the endpoints of the payment unless the domestic components on both ends of the international payment have them too. Countries that don't modernize their domestic systems will not see the benefits of the revolution in payments taking place today pushed to the endpoints in that country. Working to build modern international payments, we've discovered that the biggest obstacle is very often the last hop, getting the funds to the payment recipient through the domestic payment system. But lacking connectivity to consumers, CBDCs won't solve the last mile problem that has made modernizing international payments so difficult. Fortunately, domestic systems are modernizing. SEPA, Singapore, others have very strong domestic systems. The US is implementing FedNow, though that won't be live for another few years. It's important that these payment systems are built on newer technologies that are compatible with each other. At a minimum, they won't be able to confer the benefits of improved international settlement to the payment's originator and recipient if they aren't modernized. At worst, those payments won't work at all.
There we go. There we go. And now we're here. July's right around the corner, and FedNow is about to go live. So let's hear the next thing.
So there's an opportunity here to bridge domestic real-time payment systems such as FedNow, clearinghouse for US dollars, with powerful benefits for small and medium enterprises and ultimately consumers around the world. We need to build systems with common principles just as the internet was built. Today, many computer networks are effectively just part of the internet, but this wasn't always the case. As many of you may know, Cisco rose to dominance among competitors because they could make legacy systems that were already there connect to the internet, while competitors frequently required you to build new internet-like networks. Today, most networks look like the internet, and this isn't a concern, but it took interoperability to get there. Payments and settlement are in that pre-internet state. There's still that huge mismatch. It's walled garden after walled garden with limited interoperability through a massive number of limited interconnections. Liquidity is spread out, and enterprises need to keep money spread across these systems when they don't know which domestic payments they'll need to make next in which countries. The result is high cost due to trapped funds and the need to pre-fund transactions, often days in advance. Today, many sovereign countries around the world want independence from such a system that gives jurisdictions like the US and the EU extraterritorial control over systems in those sovereign countries and regions. Saudi Arabia, for example, wants a payment system in the Middle East that respects their sovereignty. If each country issues their own CBDC or starts using stablecoins denominated in different regional currencies, we risk repeating this mistake yet again. We drastically need interoperability between these virtual currencies and between virtual currencies and traditional assets and systems. A CBDC, by definition, is going to carry the same capital controls, trade agreements, politics as its corresponding fiat currency did, and countries are not going to want to deal with another country's capital controls, nor should they. They're sovereign nations. If you're looking at cross-border, that key factor is interoperability. You're working across jurisdictions and across assets. You need a neutral asset in between different CBDCs, or your liquidity is going to be divided among the n-squared pairs of CBDCs. Similarly, if other assets, such as securities around the world, get tokenized, there's even more need for a neutral asset between multiple CBDCs and possibly a large number of new assets and new asset classes.
There we go, right there. And then to finish it off, let's pull it up.
The first one's for you. You want to take one? The first one's for you. IMF. Do you see IMF holding crypto assets in the future? I did not put that up there.
Remember, I'm from the legal department. I'm supposed to be very conservative about these things. I don't want to go into great details about
You want to take one?
And that's it, folks. That's it for this deep dive. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. You seeing what I'm seeing, or am I tripping out? Am I staying up too late, right? Let me know in the comments, subscribe, share this with a friend as well too. Join the Discord, link will be in the bio. Also, join that free Opportunity of Crypto Accelerator course. You've got nothing to lose. So I will see you guys in the next video and in the Discord.